Can one nonprofit organization successfully provide a variety of different services in several different communities? Find out on Talking with Henrietta, coming up next. I'm Henrietta. Welcome to the show. It is widely accepted that a nonprofit organization is a business that has been granted a tax-exempt status by the Internal Revenue Service because it furthers a social cause and provides a public benefit. Nonprofit organizations must promote a religious, scientific, charitable, educational, literary, public safety, or cruelty prevention cause or purpose, and offer goods and services to the clients that they serve. On this show, we will turn our attention to El Concilio of San Mateo County, a nonprofit organization that has provided a number of seemingly unrelated services in several Bay Area communities for the past 30 years. Seated to my far left is Gloria Flores-Garcia, who is El Concilio's Associate Executive Director. She has worked in the nonprofit sector for 40 years and has been with El Concilio for nearly 30 years, overseeing health, wellness, and individual and family support services. Joaquin Narvaez is seated to my immediate left. He has served for 10 years as El Concilio's manager and crew supervisor in charge of the organization's energy, weatherization, and minor home repair programs. Karen Burns is seated to my right. Ms. Burns is the executive director of Build It Green, BIG, an organization based a woman Oakland-based 501c3 organization that seeks to create a world of healthy and sustainable homes for all people. She has 20 years of leadership experience in sustainability, nonprofit management, fundraising, finance, and business development. We'll also talk with El Concilio's Executive Director, Hortensio Lopez, who'll be joining us by phone. Ms. Lopez has been responsible for developing and successfully managing innovative programs that address social, economic, employment, and health disparities among low wealth income communities locally. Well, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you. I think I kind of garbled BIG, the organization Build It Green, because it's an Oakland-based 501c3 woman-owned and led nonprofit.
Correct.
No, that's better.
That was good.
No, for all of you, it's amazing the times we're in right now. They're certainly not boring, right?
Nope.
So I'm wondering, in the 30 years since El Concilio was founded, do you all think that things have gotten worse? The purpose for which you were founded, the organization was founded, has it gotten better, or have things remained the same? So Hortensia, since you won't be with us for long, I think I'll start with you. What do you think?
Well, certainly, you know, the social statistics show that things have changed dramatically. A lot of it is impacted by the wealth gap that we're seeing, particularly in the Bay Area. I mean, California is the fifth economy of the world, and yet when you look at the housing prices and the livable wage issue, it becomes the most impoverished state in the country, and San Mateo County is the most costly county to live in. This continues to add challenges to the communities we're serving to try to change their lives and empower them socially and economically. The wealth gap is a big factor that's driving a lot of the changes that are happening in our community.
Okay, thank you, Hortensia. Gloria, what do you say? You've been with the organization now for 30 years.
It's interesting. It is very interesting because we started with a needs assessment, and there were lots of gaps. There was a lot of our community, particularly the Latino community, was not utilizing health services the way they should. They were dealing with the wealth gaps, period, and lots of jobs, lots of congested housing. And so I think that while there's been services being offered in various areas, it's been harder and harder for people.
It's getting harder and harder and harder.
It's harder and harder for people.
Okay. Well, we all have our ideas about why it's harder and harder, but before I get back to you, Hortensia, Karen, do you think it's harder and harder for people?
I do, in many income brackets. I do. I think it's I think it's challenging. It's challenging to get by. Livable wage is very important, and even then, so many people are $500 away from a major crisis where that amount of money can really have an impact. So one of the things that was important to me when joining Build It Green was to reshift and re-energize our focus on low-income communities, because it was something we were seeing, and we thought that we had skills and knowledge that we could bring to the table that we hadn't been doing as much.
So tell me, when Build It Green was formed, it was not focused towards low-income communities.
It had some focus there. So we have 3 sort of lines of business. One of them is called an asset label that ensures that a home is healthy and sustainable. And its current focus is called Greenpoint Rated. Its current focus is in multifamily affordable housing. So that's where our historical focus has been in low-income communities and disadvantaged communities. When I joined, I really wanted to bring more heart into our organization and to help more people and to make the connection between energy and the environment and people, and where do you do that in your house?
Sure, we'll get back to a little of that. Now, you work in weatherization, and you work on houses, and I guess you work a lot with BIG.
Oh yeah.
In your capacity with El Concilio.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I've seen a lot the last 10 years of, I mean, especially in certain communities that we've like BIG brought us back into, like East Palo Alto, and we were doing work already there like throughout these years, but then you start seeing like that a lot of people are having big troubles like with surviving, let alone surviving, but maintaining their household. So that's where we come in, and so we're on the field and we see the houses and we go and see that people really want to keep, and they have pride in their houses and everything, but it's just that they can't keep up with their house when they're out working 2 to 3 jobs, and everyone in the household is in the same situation. So I would say like within the last 10 years it's gotten worse, just because of that reason and the cost of living and the wealth gap. And then we've seen a lot of, because we do little follow-ups on customers, and a lot of them have moved out of, out of state mostly.
Sure.
Just because of it's not
the
affordable.
People who purchase their houses, are they low income or no?
I would say no.
They would not need your services.
No, not at all.
Sure. So Hortensia, I'm just wondering, let's talk about some of El Concilio's services, and as you talk about them, tell us, how did the organization get involved with housing or the weatherization and the upkeep of housing?
So we originally started, and Flores started to talk about it, looking at the issue of health in our communities and the disparities and the lack of culturally competent people providing services. And we created a signature project called the Promotor Model, which is where you take people from the community and you train them. Essentially, it's train-the-trainer concept, but it's an old concept from rural countries. That's because they didn't have the luxury of having people in institutions. They would bring in people from the rural areas and train them. They would go back to the communities and train. So we did this in health, and we developed a good model. We partnered with San Mateo County Medical Health and Clinics. Very successful. Over 350 people graduated. You look around, some of them are employed with the county, some of them are employed with other nonprofits, all tied to health. So then we realized that, good, it's moving, it's changing, the prism here. But then we realized it became a matter of not skill anymore, it was a matter of content. And one of the areas that we saw was not being approached by our communities was energy. So we started looking at programs that have continued to be free for the clients, but also afforded opportunities for workforce development for local community people. We hired people from the community, trained them in skill. It's a project called the Energy Savings Assistance Program. It's mandated through legislation, and PG&E has been doing this program since 1983. And we've been contracted with them now since 2004. So we started there.
Okay, Hortensia, I'm going to turn for a moment to Gloria because you said there were 250 people whom you trained, and you're talking about how you've gotten involved in the whole area of energy. So one would think, Gloria, that things would have improved. And those 250 people, did they originally stay in the community? Did they have a big impact on the housing and the reasons for which they were trained?
Well, they were trained primarily in the area of health, but they learned very much the basic philosophy of dealing with the needs of the community, being the voice of the community. Many have left, a few have been deported. Been hired by the county, been hired by other nonprofits.
So are we talking about a program that started 30 years ago?
It started in 2000 was our first graduation.
Oh, okay. So
yes.
That was at least 19 years ago.
Yes, and those are the people who have spread out in other areas.
Sure. Now, were they paid?
They were paid initially, yes. They were paid to study and to do the community education pieces, to supervise, and to take lead positions and supervise. As a matter of fact, we started with leadership. We started with leaders within the community who cared about their community. And that's the key, is you care about, you love your community, and that's who we are. We just love our community, and we feel like we need to work, be part of the solution.
Sure.
Our community needs to be seen. And we came up as the sleeping giant, and we're not a sleeping giant.
Now, Karen, how did BIG start collaborating with El Concilio?
Sure. So we've collaborated with them in the past, and we had the opportunity to work with them on something called the Low-Income Weatherization Program, which is a government-funded, state government-funded program that provides all types of energy efficiency measures in homes, very extensive measures. But when we started talking with them and as the program started rolling out, we realized that there would be families left behind, families where we couldn't add our solar systems because the roof needed repair, it was too dilapidated, or where we couldn't tighten the home to add the weatherization because there were other health issues that would be exacerbated in the home, such as pest infestations or mold infestations or things like this. And there was no funding for these types of things. So we found ourselves in a situation where the families most in need were the ones getting left behind from all these programs that they might have had access to. So in working with El Concilio and in working with Bill Hayward of Hayward Score, we realized that we had, as a partnership, a very intentional opportunity to work with families that were very much in need, to focus on health, to meet them where they were, and then to provide an equity-based solution by raising money from different donors to fund the gap so that if they were eligible for solar, we would fix the roof so that they could get solar, and things of that nature, and also inside the house especially.
Sure. Now, Hortensia, Karen just now talked about filling the gap. So should one assume that the clients for whom these services were provided free of charge completely?
Yes.
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 Yes, they were provided free of
All
charge.
of it's free.
And they continue to be.
So they have to meet a certain income level.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, how can you, I mentioned in our introduction that El Concilio might have a variety of different services that are seemingly unrelated. The services that you offer, could you just kind of maybe list them and then talk about how they rolled out? What came first or what might have been the priority? Did you hear Hortensia? Well, Gloria. Yes.
Well, we initially started in the area of health, and in our health, the development of the clinic, the diabetes clinic, that was called Nuestro Canto de Salud, which means our song of health, means everybody participates in order to produce what we want. Lost my thought of here.
You started with health.
We started with health, thank you. The nurses and the nurse educators and the dietitians asked us to see if the promotores could also help people with their social needs, because when they entered into the session for their diabetes illness education, they had to go through, listen to so many other things that were going on with the family. So it was really important that the social services be addressed. It has rolled into rental assistance, social, just all the basics, food, all those things, but also the energy programs and the kinds of things that they were seeing there in the homes, because the energy program was doing a portion that was education. So we really focused on just providing education. The science is there. It's a matter of being able to impart information where it's understood. And we deal with myths, traditions, culture.
Okay. Hortensia, are you still there with us? We know you have to leave early.
I'm back. Somehow I got knocked off. Yes, I'm
Oh,
back.
okay. Now, what type of staff does an organization need to provide all of the services that you provide? What type of staff and what type of a budget?
Okay. Well, so the type of staff is different levels. You have those that are trained to do the energy education and interactive piece with the clients. Then you have people that are trained to do the actual weatherization installation. They're all trained at the PG&E Stockton Training Center, so they get the certificates. Then you need some overall administration that's going to be able to see it. And the budget it's a performance-based contract, so you have to make it work for whatever you've agreed to. They pay you for the installation measures of weatherization, they pay you for education.
So do you have a certain, I guess you would have a certain budget for each program?
Yes, we do. Like even with DIG, we have to give them a budget of, if we want to do the work, they're saying, okay, tell us what it's going to cost, and we negotiate what makes it work. And
So
that's how we come to.
and you deal only in San Mateo County?
No, we actually, because of the need, we split over to Santa Clara County, and we've even done some work over in Richmond, Hayward. It's just the need is just so great.
Contra Costa too, right?
Yes, Contra Costa.
Oh, so again, how many on staff?
So right now we have about 15.
50, 50?
No, 15, 15.
15
One-
people.
1-5.
1-5,
Oh, okay. And are they part-time or full-time?
full-time.
Oh, full time.
Full-time. So is that how the organization started? Has its budget increased since its start and the staff increased, or?
Yes, so are you talking just about the energy programs or overall the agency?
The overall agency.
Oh, yeah. We actually started to get in direct services in 1995, I think, when we started training. And I think our budget, that we were actually the first organization to get a Robert Wood Johnson grant to San Mateo County. And so it started with that. And we literally, our budget is just under $2 million.
Okay. Okay. Now you were going to say something, Joaquin?
Oh well, no, I was just gonna follow up on the staff as far as the energy savings program. We brought in a lot of people that we're glad to see came through us and gotten like not better jobs, but jobs that are more career based where they can raise their families, and so we're proud about that. So our staff is always revolving, you know, because we're bringing them in, we want to build them up. Some of these kids never went to, you know, never finished high school, but through us they found a way to get jobs with PG&E or
terrific.
Yeah, even some
So,
even became,
so you train them and they leave you.
yes.
That's
Yeah.
what nonprofits do.
Train and there is a high
deliver.
turnover. Is
Yeah.
there?
We have some pretty low, you know.
Well, certainly when you look at the two of you and you look at Hortensia, you can't say it's a high turnover, right?
True.
It's our life and it's our passion. Yes,
Yes.
it's true. It's true, but it's been an interesting journey with so many things, opportunities coming before it, as there has been needs. But I think Hortensia has done a fantastic job in being in the taking the lead and in many areas of at the policy level and dealing with a lot of stuff.
Now-
So opportunities we take. we
Sure.
take
Now,
them.
Hortensia, I know you can't stay with us long, and you can tell us when you need to leave us. So before you go, tell us, what is it that keeps you awake at night when it comes to El Concilio? Only when it comes to El Concilio. Or is there anything that keeps you awake at night?
Well, I think first and foremost is meeting payroll. You got to make sure everybody gets paid. But no, I think what keeps me awake is the effect that wealth gap is having in our community. And I think it's been said 3 times by 2 different people there, Doreen and Joaquin, is that you have people that are just short of, you know, being homeless because they can't afford to live right now. And I worry about that because I can look at our children, I can look at my grandchildren, and it's impacting everybody across. And so when, like again, when we live in an economy of the state of California, that is the 5th economy of the world, I don't understand what is the issue there. Why can't we come to some more solutions to help some of these people not be marginalized more and more, and you know, lack of access to internet, lack of access to health, education opportunities? Because I know we're all created equally. It's a question of equity.
So is El Concilio an advocacy organization? Do you propose legislation to deal with some of the challenges that you see in the communities that you serve?
Yeah. So we are not directly a public policy organization driven by public policy, but we work with other partners. Like we are part of Greenlighting Institute, the public policy and advocacy group, and we're on the ground with the communities, and they are dealing with the research and the public policy. And they have done a lot of collectively. We'll support them. We'll bring the aid to them. We work together. And then they have gotten legislation through to help with that. So, for example, the cap and trade, which Kareem referred to earlier, the one that funds the low-income weatherization program, funded it, was part of the legislation there was that it required that 25% of the cap and trade revenue be set aside for low-income communities. That was a big one because, you know, you have a lot of resources being put into renewable energy, but if you don't focus on the low income, then we're never going to have that equity.
Yes, now I'm told, Hortensia, that we're having some problems with your sound. And I know that you can't stay with us longer. So is there anything you would like to share in closing?
Well, no, I first of all, I want to thank you, Henrietta, for affording us this opportunity to share. And I also want to salute the people that are there in the room with you. They are the ones that are making things happen for our communities. And again, I think it was said earlier that we have to be part of the solution, not just be considered part of the problem, and that's how we'll turn this around.
Thank you so much, Hortensia. We'll talk about how El Concilio is turning things around and more about the organization. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Henrietta. Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Joaquin.
Goodbye.
I know you're going to do good.
Now, there is also an education program. We talked about the housing and we talked about the health. And you talked about educating some of the original community people that you worked with. But I understand now that you're also involved in spreading the internet. How is that?
Affordable internet offers, and I just wanted to say we are partnering with the California Technology Emerging Technology Fund, and they have been advocating throughout the state for close the digital divide, and so they have along with the leadership, Hortensia included, received obtained a resolution from the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors to support that activity. So we are now involved with looking at high-level entities to help in the sharing of the information about affordable internet offers.
We have a video and that talks in some degree of what the gap is that we're talking about. And so the control room will let me know when that video is ready. But in the meantime, how many clients do you have? Who are you attempting to reach with the program to close the internet?
We are contracted.
I'm not to close the internet, but to close the gap.
We are in the process of obtaining agreements from various entities. Well, our goal is 40 entities throughout San Mateo County that will provide within their service the affordable internet offers. And this is a desperate need because people are not able to get jobs because they have to apply online. They have to apply for housing online. They're applying for everything online, and it just, we've got to level the playing field here.
So what do people do if they can't apply if they don't have internet access? They have their cell phones now.
The cell phones are okay, but they don't provide, you can't access everything on the cell phone. It has to be on a laptop, on a PC.
Sure. Joaquin, is there anything that you'd like to add in terms of that?
Oh, well, we see that a lot. Actually, a lot of folks don't have any internet. Actually, that's kind of like one of the things with the Hayward score. We have to have the client or the customers go through a survey online. They don't have internet, so we carry our little laptop or tablet and we walk them through it. And the ones that do have internet, they are using their phone, and so it's limited. Yeah, it's limited. You know, so.
Well, I'm told the video is ready, so we can begin to take a look at it and get some more insight in terms of what the issues are when it comes to internet access.
That is correct.
How did they know this? Are you kidding?
We do see a video. Someplace along the line will have sound.
Welcome
Do
to
we have
today's academic challenge. You may only use what's on your table. There will be 3 rounds, and the questions will get harder. What is the largest animal living today? Team A.
Blue whale.
Team B.
Blue whale.
That is correct. What is the square root of 144?
12.
12.
Correct again.
Go, Janine.
India.
India. Neil Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong.
William Shakespeare.
Correct. We are tied. For round 2, we're going to give both teams some additional resources.
Okay.
Who was the first president to live in the White House?
John Adams.
That is correct.
Oh my God, bro. Come on.
What does the acronym LCD stand for?
Wow. Just wow. Right?
Liquid crystal display.
Correct.
How did they know this?
Go with it. Just go with it.
Sargasso Sea.
That's correct.
8 minutes and 20 seconds.
Correct.
Samuel Morse.
Correct.
Denver, Colorado. Santa Fe, New Mexico. And Salt Lake City, Utah.
That is correct. Let's pull back the curtain.
Are you kidding me? That's so not cool. I'm offended that they had such an unfair advantage. It was way too fast.
Please have your team captain open the envelope on the table.
70% of teachers assign homework requiring access to the internet, and yet 5 million households with school-age children do not have high-speed internet service at home. That just puts 5 million other people at a disadvantage, which is not okay.
Nearly 50% of students say they have been unable to complete a homework assignment because they did not have access to the internet or computer.
I didn't know that the percentage was so high. Everything he does is in the computer. So if he didn't have access to it, he wouldn't have a chance.
Someone may not be pulling the grade not because they're not smart, they just don't have access to what all the other kids have.
Oh, that's so great.
Well, thank you. So do you think
that's
I
our
can
job.
get one of those?
So that's our job, you
Yes,
know?
and you said that you're trying to collaborate with 40 different companies?
We are looking for agreements with 40 other entities, and Hagar Services Coalition, run by Rose Jacobs Gibson, is our other partner. And so that has been, we've got about 10 agreements at this point.
And would this allow individual homes to have free internet or internet at a substantially reduced cost?
It's primarily offers. So it's internet offers by particular companies. Not every company offers low income, low offers. And there are also some information on computer, low discount computers as well.
Sure. That's not something that, well, you had mentioned how people are affected, those that you work with, by
Oh, yeah.
a lack of internet access.
Yes. Yes.
Is that a factor in any of the work that you do, Karen? People don't have to sign on online to get their houses refurbished or repaired.
They do. I guess it depends on the type of program that we're running. For the direct install program, when we work with groups like El Concilio, they're on the ground, knocking on doors, putting out flyers. So we recognize that the internet is not available and ubiquitous for everyone. And so we try to reduce the barriers by being present, by our partners, our local partners being present. So I guess we inherently make some assumptions about that, and where the programs are providing services to low-income or disadvantaged communities, then yes, we absolutely will design our marketing strategy, design our approach strategy, reach out to specific partners who can address those barriers. Other programs are primarily internet-based, but they're designed for a different. They're not always. They're definitely not free, and sometimes we're asking a lot of our customers to upgrade and weatherize their house. So
Now, it was said that El Concilio works in several different counties, like Contra Costa, San Mateo, Santa Clara, and Alameda, and your organization, Build It Green?
Yeah.
Which counties?
we work across California.
Oh, all across California.
We will. We have a deeper presence in the 9 Bay Area counties and in Los Angeles County, but we certainly will work throughout the state, and we have.
And you've been with the organization since its inception?
No, just for 3 years.
Just for the past 3 years.
Yes.
How did it get started? It seems like it's a very successful, woman-owned and operated
We
company.
got started in 2004 around promoting green buildings, and training contractors. How do you construct green homes? How do you retrofit homes so that they're sustainable and climate friendly, and make them more energy efficient? So our foundation and our core was in our Greenpoint rated label, and also in administering programs that deliver energy savings for utilities to customers.
That's amazing. And you make the most of those services at El Concilio.
Yes, as a matter of fact, and just in terms of just creating cleaner air, the quality of air in a home, all those things are very important to the health and well-being.
So what do? You don't put in air purifiers. What do you do?
They're called ERVs, and what they do is they exhaust recycle ventilation. So they'll pull out the air inside the home and bring it to the outdoors.
This is something like what, a fan?
Like a fan, yeah. You put it like in like a central area in the house, more like
through
a
a
hallway.
window, or
No, most likely through the like a ceiling, or it's more like how a fan is installed in the house, like one that would be in a bathroom or anything, but it'd be more in your hallway, and basically it pulls out stagnant air that's in the house.
It's run by electricity.
Yes, yes.
And one just kind of comes home and turns it on.
Yeah, you
and
can turn it
starts
on with the switch.
whenever it's needed.
Yes, or we advise them to have it on before they get home, because that's what you're gonna walk into that house, and it's gonna have whatever air is in there. But with the concept of this fan or the ventilation is that it pulls out the bad air and brings in filtered air.
Now, what might be bad air, and how is it that a homeowner would need it? What's building up in the house?
Well, there's moisture issues, there's mold, there's pests, there's old carpets that build dust, there's the radon underneath the house that migrates, works its way up, and they're breathing it, and it takes effect on their health. Makes their asthma worse, and so and gets their kids sick, and they start missing work and school, and it just
Sounds
builds
like
up.
it's something any household could use.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
I'm sold already.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah, it's
suggested.
really
This
science.
is a unit
Science.
that one can just go out and buy.
Yes.
I mean, how much does it cost?
They
basically?
range from 5 to 1,200, depending how old. Like they get newer and newer models, so it depends.
And one would need to have an installer
yes,
put it in, cutting through the ceiling. or-
Yeah, you have to put the ducting in, and then you have to connect it to the electrical, give its own circuit, and all, and yeah, so you have to have someone install it for you.
So you know, Joaquin, the last time you were on this show, he was talking about electricity and how people's electricity bills were high because they keep everything plugged in all the time, even though it's not turned on.
Yep.
And do you know, I went home and unplugged a lot of things.
Great, great.
I have lots
Well,
of things
hopefully you
unplugged.
saw it affect your bill
Yes,
in a good
I
way.
did not know if the appliance is turned off,
Yeah,
that
they-
it's still
has a
using
vampire
electricity.
load, yes.
Yes. So just imagine how much I'm learning.
Oh yeah.
We learn every day. It's
Yes,
amazing.
we
It's
do
just
all
amazing.
kinds of things.
In addition to that, we're looking at informing people about electrical cars.
Oh yeah.
At this point, we have a contract to inform people about, educate people about why it's important to have
But you're not giving
emission,
them
zero emission
You're not
vehicles.
giving them discounts or certainly no free electric cars
some-
or
There,
provided
there
with
are
the program.
incentives right now. There are rebates right now. There are
For those
discounts.
who are low income.
No, for anybody who purchases an electrical
But I'm thinking
vehicle.
if someone is specifically low income, are there any particular programs in terms of electric vehicles?
Not
that
for the
might be-
electric vehicles that I know of thus
Sure.
far. In trying to clean up the planet, we are, the incentives are there for people to look at what we as residents can do in this planet.
Now,
to
you're
help.
also involved in global warming. I don't know if with your nonprofit you're involved in global warming.
We're hoping to mitigate some of it. Yeah, exactly.
Just in what, the building materials and the
energy
weight?
use. So energy usage, when we reduce energy usage in the home, we reduce emissions from non-clean energy sources. And we also can reduce our energy baseline usage.
So talk about that energy uses. Give us an example.
So when you have a leaky house and it's cold, you're spending your furnace is on a lot longer, it's burning more electricity, it's using more electricity, it's burning more fuel. And that fuel, depending on the mix, could be coal, natural gas. You know, in California, we're one of the leaders in cleaner energy. However, we still need what are called peaking plants that are often natural gas. And that's when, say, it's 100 degrees in the Inland Empire and everybody's got their AC on. And so that creates where we've got so much energy that is required, and then we have to fire up what's called a peaker plant.
So what are the options
Well, so there
for a typical homeowner, assuming there is a typical homeowner?
There are a couple of options. You know, we're a fan of, well, one of the things we're working on overall is how do we shift that energy load to times of the day when we've got a lot of solar production going on. This is really important, not only because we can then reduce using the peaker plants, but because we can actually use the solar energy. We produce so much solar energy in this state that we're having to sell it at a loss to other states or curtail it. And so if we could shift our load by using smart technology in the house, which we have now, we have these solutions, and we're building programs right now that can do that.
Okay, so having solar is one of them. What might be some of the other
solutions,
programs?
I would say, before even thinking about solar, because there's so much solar already out there, we need smart thermostats in every house. And a lot of the programs now that we're running and working on do to provide them in certain situations where folks are low income, and or we offer slight discounts and incentives to the rest of
And
Main
the
Street.
thermostats would be hooked up to what, the furnaces?
They get hooked
or
up to
the
your
heating systems, cooling
Yeah.
systems?
And
and your Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi,
yeah.
which goes back to
The internet.
So,
But
yeah.
you can also, if you could just program, even a programmable thermostat, not hooked up to the Wi-Fi,
Yes.
if it could
So
just
a
turn it down and
thermostat
turn it
could
up.
be hooked up to an internet system? How so, and for what purpose?
Same thing, same reason, like your alarm systems are hooked through your Wi-Fi. It's the same concept. But what you do is you can program it through your phone or tablet on when to turn on the heat and turn off the heat. Say, oh, I forgot to turn on the heat, or turn it off while you're driving. Instead of turning it around, you can just look on your phone and check what it is.
Are there efficient heating systems?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We do a lot of those. Our specialty is in deep energy retrofits, where we do whole house upgrades, where we're changing out the HVAC, we're putting in super high energy efficient appliances and HVAC.
Instead of getting a new furnace, what can people do?
Smart thermostats, and you could pre-cool your house in the middle of the day and then let it float through the peak.
What can you do to replace the furnace? Is there anything?
Well, it depends. Yes, you can replace a furnace with something super energy efficient.
That would be economical.
Yes, there are incentives out there through the utilities to make it about on par with just your basic replacement. So they have programs like that. We also, in our LIWIT program, we were providing them.
So I think a
no
basic
cost.
furnace might be something like $8,000.
I think it would depend.
Is
You
there
might know
something
better.
that's more economical
It all
than that?
depends on like what the existing heat system is. You know, like in San Mateo County, there's a lot of wall heaters. So if you want to get an actual furnace with supply vents and like a forced air furnace, then it's going to be close to $8,000.
And
Just
if it's
to-
baseboard heat?
Baseboard heat that's more electrical, so that wouldn't be as much to install. But
What, a new furnace for something electrical?
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be as much as far as what it takes to install. Because baseboards, you just put them right on the side of the wall or on near the baseboards. Whereas if you're going to do a gas furnace, you would have to actually put ducts throughout each room that you want to provide. So that's going through attics or going through the crawl space, and all that material that it takes to do that would bring the cost up. So baseboard would be more less expensive, but it may be more costly in the long run because you're just going to be using a lot of electricity.
So you can
And
talk
not as efficient as far as the heating the home.
So
And you
what
can
would be the
reduce-
most efficient?
You can reduce the leaks in your house so that when
Okay.
you do run your furnace, whatever type it is, you're
Sure.
running it less often and you're running it at a lower rate. So that's really effective. But that goes back to the Healthy Homes program that we're working
Yeah,
on,
I'm
because
glad
you
you
don't
brought
want to tighten a house and make it airtight to keep the heat in when there are other things going on in the house that could actually make you sick.
Yes.
And so that's where that's where the families get left behind, going back to our earlier conversation. And that's where this program that we created together comes in and says we can pull money from these other programs to weatherize and tighten the house. But if we don't address the health issues that's going to create or that's already are existent there, then we're not doing that family any favors.
You're making it worse.
So
making it
do you
worse.
do an
Yeah.
inventory? How do families contact you? How do they get on your list of?
Outreach.
So maybe we could talk about the Facebook program. That was
Sure.
Okay.
So they were our founding donor. For
Facebook.
Facebook, yes, Facebook.
For this program?
For our first Healthy Homes Connect program.
Okay.
Yes. We came to them. They wanted to do something in their backyard, the neighborhood of Bellhaven. Bellhaven has all these really busy corridors, transportation corridors, and just pollutants spewing into this.
Yes, like
this-
Willow Road, for example.
Exactly.
that
Yes.
area, and there's really high rates of asthma in these communities from the pollutants, and so there were challenges there, and also again, going back to this, we talked about earlier, the wealth disparity. There were some homes and some families in those communities that were getting really impacted by all of that. So we approached Facebook and said, hey, look, we can help you to reach out to the community and do great work in the community using this group of folks, Hayward Score, El Concilio, Build It Green, and also Grid Alternatives who put solar on. And we can, but what we need is this gap funding to address the issues that we know we're going to find in these homes and won't allow us to pull all these other funding sources together. One of the other things you talked about, Henrietta, was how all these different programs of theirs come together. When we worked with El Concilio, we saw that immediately, that they have access to, they're working in health. So because they're so close to the community, they might know who's really struggling. We want to help those people. And then because they're working in energy, they can leverage the utility dollar program, so we can pull those all together. So we might have only needed, like if in a grant size, we might have only needed a quarter of it from the actual grant, and all the rest of the money came from all these other programs. And that family had no idea that all those programs were available to them, and even if they were, without the gap funding, they might not have been. So we were able to really pull this money together and do great work in this community, and it was really, Facebook helped us. And since that moment, we've taken it to other utilities, and we're now reaching out to other donors, say we've done this, it works. We're changing lives, generations of generations in one home. We're improving their lives, and to me, that's the most important thing we could do, and that's the stuff you tell your kids about.
We do the outreach as well.
Really great program.
So for anyone listening who wants to be involved in this program, how would they qualify?
Well, there's the income brackets that they need to fit in, which is the great thing is the income bracket or the guidelines are more accurate than other programs. So most people will definitely qualify, and they just got to provide the documentation that's
They can
needed.
contact our office.
And
They can contact El Concilio's
Yes,
office. Is
absolutely.
there, for those who have internet access, is there an online forum or a website that might take them directly to
There's the El
an
Concilio
application?
website.
El Concilio
And it's
website.
described on the El Concilio.
But would that application be on?
We're going to update that
Yeah.
to have more specificity in
Okay, is there a
regards to
description
program.
of the
But there
program?
the contract, yes,
It's on the.
there's a description and there's
And
a
what's
phone
the
number.
website?
www.el
www.el.
hyphen
Uh-huh.
CONCILIO.com.
Okay, so that's L dash or hyphen Concilio, CONCILIO.com.
Yes.
Can a family or individual contact you directly, or would they go through El Concilio?
We would, for that program, we would direct them to El Concilio, absolutely. But it's, just to be clear, we have limited funding and there is so much need.
Yeah.
And so, what folks can do is reach out and say, hey, we need help.
Yes.
And what we're looking for, our dream is a statewide program where we can scale this effort and we can help anyone in the state of California who has this need, so that we can, it helps our climate, it helps energy usage, it helps our health and all the medical bills and those sorts of things. It's just a win-win.
Well, you know, there are those who are talking about free education for all. And so you're talking about scaling the program to help anybody and everybody.
In a certain income bracket.
Ah, okay.
Not everybody,
Because I would say that's just absolutely terrific.
We're thinking
it would
folks that have there would need to be an income limit. But we'd love to see more people do this for their own houses, especially those with means who can afford to do so.
So
Yeah.
is there on your website, for example, a list of energy efficient steps that people can take in terms of improving their houses and their health?
We do. We have, folks can go to our builditgreen.org website.
And it would be builditgreen.org?
.org. And they can also just kind of, they could Google Greenpoint Rated. We have a Greenpoint Rated separate website where
And that's Greenpoint
Yep.
Rated.
Yep.
And that's as it sounds, Greenpoint, Point,
Yep.
Rated, RATED.com?
.org.
.org. The Build It Green, but there'll be links on the builditgreen.org website.
That'd be the best
that
one to
would
start.
Take everybody.
Yeah, that'd be the best one.
It seems like you're going to say something.
Oh, I would say, like, if you want to get into one of our programs with El Concilio, you can call us at 650-373-1080, and we could help you lead them to the programs that are available.
Yeah.
for
And
them.
that's 650-373-1080.
Yes.
1080.
650-373-1080.
1080.
And that's in any of those counties? From
yes.
From Alameda, from Contra Costa, from San Mateo, from Santa Clara County.
Yes, that's the number you want to call.
And you can help residents
We
in all of
We'll
those
direct them.
counties.
We'll direct them, like there's, for those counties, we're doing the Energy Savings Assistance Program, which is the PG&E program. Right now, we're in San Mateo County with the minor home repair program and the Healthy Homes program which is in Palo Alto, Daly City, and Menlo Park.
Oh, really? Healthy
Yes.
Homes program in
Yes.
Palo Alto
Yes.
too?
East Palo Alto.
East Palo
I'm
Alto.
sorry, East Palo Alto.
I was going to say.
I apologize.
I mean, there are low-income
Yeah, there is.
people in Palo Alto
Yeah.
too, but they
Yeah.
would not be able to qualify.
If they fall in that program's not offered in that area, I believe, at the moment.
I see. Okay.
But
And-
that's what we're working on, and that's why it's a really great program. It helps not only the customer with, help around the house as far as like measures, as far as door replacement and stuff, but also their healthiness overall.
in the time that we have left, what would you most like to share that you can do in a few seconds?
Well, I think we want to be there, that we are there to offer services, to provide whatever help we can need. And this is physical, health, physical, mental, spiritual, kind of help people along. Be able to empower them to ask for the things that they need, or help guide them through those things. We're just, the stories of what we each do land up helping a family or an individual from different sources.
Sure.
It's just that's what we want to do.
I don't want to leave you out, Karen. And if there's something you'd like to share.
Well, I would just say that we're here to share the amazing work that we've been doing with El Concilio, with Healthy Homes. And if there are folks interested in supporting that work, we can always use it. We can do so much with those funds to help people that really need it. The stories are amazing. The people's lives that we're changing, they're so thankful and grateful. And it's a really special program. We're doing the right thing for the right reasons, to help the right people. And we'd love for folks to get involved in any way they can, and especially for folks that might be interested in donating to El Concilio, to our program, for the Healthy Homes program. It'd be great.
Well, we've given basic information just in terms of how people who are interested to use your services can contact you. And now you've just invited people who'd like to donate to contact you.
Absolutely.
So it seems like we've reached both ends. And yes, and you've shared a lot of useful information. And I'm thrilled that you could be on to talk about what you're doing for so many people who are your clients. So I'd like to thank you, and I'd certainly like to thank our viewers for watching. Until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.